Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and today is the 7th day of July 2026. And happy 4th of July to everybody. And I'm going to pretty much ignore that, though, in the sermon, going in another direction. I have a reading from James, 2nd chapter, 14 to 18. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, for you to say you have faith, but do not have works? Can faith save you? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm, and eat your fill," and yet you do not supply their bodily needs, what is the good of that? So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. But someone will say, "You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I by my works will show you my faith." I'm here in the new office that I have at First Presbyterian Church in Maysville, and it's a wonderful office. But this is Sunday afternoon, and I'm recording this from that office. My wife and I have a standing agreement when she's driving that it's my job to watch for deer. When one or a committee of deer are present or they appear in the road ahead of us, it's my job to say, "Deer, deer, 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 deer." And this is a very effective way of avoiding a disaster. However, I was driving alone from Maysville to West Union, Ohio for a church meeting a couple of years ago, driving what I call the Wiggly Road, Highway 41, between Maysville and West Union. I was minding my own business when a deer sprang from the bushes to my left and darted right in front of the car. I felt like this was quite unsportsmanlike of the deer to simply show up immediately right before I hit it. Usually I get a chance to spot them in the distance and get to slow down and maybe not hit them. But this one came from the side almost at the last possible second. I only saw it for a split second before I hit it straight on. In the center of my car, the front of the car. The two headlights were undamaged, but there was a big bang and the deer flew off to the right of my car. I was out in the middle of no place. There were no cars. There were no people. There were no houses. Only spotty cell phone service. The deer was dead off to the side of the road to the right. And I told myself that I was helping to increase the average intelligence of the deer population by killing one of the ones that was too stupid to stay out of the road. I assessed the damage to my car, a wrinkled hood, and lots of broken plastic at the front end. There was no leaking radiator, there was no oil dripping anywhere, and I had a meeting to get to in West Union, and so I continued on my way. After the meeting, I drove home the same way I had come, and the deer was missing. It wasn't there at the site of our encounter. I don't think it walked away either. Somebody picked it up and took it home and either made jerky or maybe deer tenderloin. That's a possibility too. My car went to the car hospital and it got a new hood and a new front end, all that plastic. It took about 2 months after the deer encounter, and it took a lot of money. One of my church members from West Union had a similar deer encounter shortly after mine. She was on another Ohio highway and was attacked by a deer committee that darted out from the side without giving any fair warning whatsoever. She wasn't as lucky as I was. She hit and killed one of the deer and injured another one. Her car was undrivable And later, it was declared a total loss from hitting a deer. While she and her passengers were waiting at the side of the road, 3 drivers came by, and each one stopped to inquire if everybody was okay, and each one of them added, "Can I have your deer?" Now, I didn't realize how competitive the market is for roadkill. My second thought was, I have not appreciated how hungry people are these days. So I looked it up. Mason County percentage of food insecure people is 18.2%. That's 3,090 people in Mason County, Kentucky. Lewis and Fleming and Robertson counties in Kentucky were in worse shape than Mason County, but only by a percentage or two, only a couple of hundred or 200 or 300 people. When you separate out the children who are food insecure in Mason County, it gets even more startling than the 18%. 22%, more than 1 in 5 children in Mason County are food insecure. No wonder that deer disappeared so fast. Yes, there is worldwide inflation, and yes, the wars in Ukraine and Iran have helped to spike food costs. Nevertheless, most of us are doing okay. We have to remember, though, that there are hungry people right at our door. They're not far away, they're right here. When the tornado hit in Maysville last week, a week and a few days ago, Beechwood Park, where Camp Discovery meets, suffered a lot of damage. Wires down, trees and limbs of trees all over the playground, in the sandbox, on the merry-go-round, all over. The city told us no campers in the park for a week. That was to give them time to clear the park of debris and wires and to check the remaining damaged trees for more possible falling limbs. So we didn't have camp that Friday, which was the day after the evening that we had the tornado. We didn't have camp the following Monday either. But one of our core goals is feeding hungry kids. There was no way we could cancel camp for a whole week. And so we ended up using the Lions Club building for breakfasts, as we usually would. And then we transported everybody by bus to Augusta, Kentucky, to spend the day swimming and having a picnic lunch. We did that all week. We have to remember that Jesus said something important about this whole thing. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit down on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. And the righteous will answer, Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer them, Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me. I want to be among God's sheep. Now, thank you for listening to this, taking that time out of your busy lives. I appreciate it very much. If you find value here, please pass it along. I've had pretty good success with these sermons, and I'm going to keep doing it. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye.